Hi my dear ones, I'm filming another viewer request video. First of all, I wanted to give a little shout out to Mr. Tyler Jones, who is another viewer who had asked me recently whether or not I had ever lost a male, which I did a reply to a couple videos back about some of the males I've lost and some of the experiences I've had breeding. This viewer request was by a viewer named Lunar Wolf. And that viewer was asking about a setup for a particular species known as the Mexican Redknee or Brachypelma smithi. I will be doing that setup video for Brachypelma smithi, starting from a little sling to a large adult. Most of you know that I usually use the substrate called vermiculite, which is a gardening substance for a small smithi. A container this size, in my opinion, is ideal because you have a very small animal. You can see this one's getting ready to molt again before too long, who you don't want to give too much room to because it can stress them out. And in addition to that, they can have trouble catching their prey, which you don't want. You want your animal to thrive and be healthy and all that jazz. When it reaches about 1 inch, you would want to go ahead and of course move it up to at least something this size. And I do tend to use disposable containers because, number one, they're very easy to clean, and although I absolutely adore beautiful display tanks, my number one priority is the health and well-being of the animal. And when you have 500 plus to possibly 1,000 inverts that you're caring for every week, it's most important that things are safe and hygienic, because if not, you tend to get mites, mold, all this other nastiness. And if I had beautiful display tanks for all of my animals, there'd be no way to keep them clean and safe. As your animal continues to molt and grow, this is an ideal size enclosure for a subadult to adult. And you can see this is not a very large enclosure, but in the wild, we know for sure that these animals do not actually dwell in a very large area. Obviously they wander a little bit, but are most comfortable in small confined areas. I also wanted to show this beautiful custom-made tank that was made for me by a wonderful man named John Lorbecky in the 90s. This was an ammo box that he made into a tank for actually a Brachypelma smithi for me. And I had a beautiful female in here. I had gotten about a 14-year-old female from Russell Smith, and she just passed away about 4 years ago. And so this tank has been just put away dormant since then until I get another prize animal. So what he did for this tank was he cut out the front, he put in plexiglass, he used dowels to frame out the little window, and then he sealed it with rubber sealant in the lower half. And then I use vermiculite. I have a hide and a water dish, and it won't be until I have another incredible giant smithi that I will probably have another animal in this tank, because it's just so precious to me, and I think it's so beautiful. And it has this cool little design on the back. You can see all the wood and the nice little etching. Just something really special to me. You can see that basically smithi is a terrestrial species, meaning ground dwelling. They need a little bit of space, but not a whole lot. They need a clean, small area that has some humidity, but it's not too dry, not too wet, which is why I personally love vermiculite, because it's so porous that it releases the moisture over time. And although I have experimented, and I always experiment with different things, for me where I live, I've noticed that either things release the moisture too quickly and I'm having to water multiple times a week, or they tend to stay wet, like with Eco Earth and stuff like that, and they tend to mold up, and then you have mites, and it doesn't remain sanitary. So when I have vermiculite, it's like I said, it releases that moisture over time. Bolus are very dry, any cricket remains, anything I have like that is very easy to remove. When the time comes, I simply replace the vermiculite. It's affordable, it's clean, My animals seem happy. The burrowers can burrow in it. I do not keep centipedes on vermiculite, but I keep all my tarantulas on vermiculite as a general rule, and although I'm trying new things, vermiculite has remained tried and true for me since the 90s. This was Mexican Redknee or Brachypelma smith-eye enclosure, and I hope you guys learned a little bit today, and I hope you had fun. I'll see you guys the next time around.